I'm your host, John Tobacco. I've been walking these streets through the caverns of Wall Street, pounding the pavement for 25 years. This is Federal Hall. The capital of capitalism is right behind me. This is where the politics meets the economy, and we're gonna bring it all to you here on What's the Deal. We're bringing you real experts with real understanding, not talking heads, not guys who manage their mommy and daddy's money. Dan Viola is the founder of the Blockchain Shift Conference. We'll be the only show on television that every week has one whole segment based on cryptocurrency.
If you make a donation, we want to give you a sweepstakes entry.
And each community can have its own currency.
Come on in, Joey.
Come on, Joey.
Come on down.
You want to sit? You want to sit in my seat?
Common sense.
Yeah.
The Common Sense crew.
What's the deal?
Free donuts for everyone.
Great.
What's the deal? And away we go. You're watching What's the Deal on Newsmax TV, and this is a whopper of a show. We have an American success story joining us in Mike Lindell, the inventor, not the founder, the inventor of My Pillow. Mike,
John, great to be here.
Thank you for giving us a few minutes. Thank you for being an inspiration to millions of entrepreneurs out there.
Incredible businessman, incredible inventor with a remarkable story.
That's right. And you may know Mike. He's famed and fabled for his famous My Pillow commercials. And thank you for joining us today on What's the Deal.
It's an honor to be here.
We're trying to set a new standard to be that place where you don't always hear the same droning, left or right. This is a place where all the middle can meet, right, Mike? And we talked about it a little bit before.
Yeah.
One of my mantras is, there's all these zealots that are all blue. They're, they're pro-choice, anti-gun, blah, 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 pro-immigration, right? They're all blue. Then you got all these people who are the complete opposite. They're all red, right? And I don't really know anybody that I like, I respect, I care about that's 100% either ideology.
Well, that's why you have this whole middle that is just like our president. It's called Common Sense.
Yeah.
The Common Sense crew. It's all, and that's what I see all the time. And that's growing. It's going out like this. It's growing, and I know that. I just did the fair, the state fair in Minnesota, and I probably talked to 1,000 people, and only one of them out of the 1,000 was had bad things to say about the president. And then I said, wait a minute, I know him, and I started talking, and he quick ran off. Everybody's coming on board and getting to that common sense. We have our pragmatic president who just takes the input in, and it's common sense.
It
always
really is.
That's what's going to unite the country. Is why would you not say, all these good things that are getting done, how is that bad? It's amazing is what it is. It's God put a blessing on this country, and we get another chance, and let's use it.
And if you start to get those reds and blues to the middle, this whole thing, I call them the purple people.
It's purple like your tie.
That's why I wore a purple tie today.
It's purple.
Because
well, I'm from a purple state, the Vikings,
that's
right?
That's right. So you know what? We're making progress with this.
Yeah.
You are an amazing businessman, not an entrepreneur, inventor. Those are all great. You come up with ideas, but some inventors, they have the best idea, but they don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to scale it. Right. I knocked over the Elevate Coffee. That's our only sponsor right now. I should have a couple of pillows right over here.
Right on. We'll get there. Let's get there.
Rest back on.
Let's get there.
But you employ 1,600 people.
Right.
Everything at My Pillow is made in America. And this isn't to pump you up, but just tell me, as a businessman, if you weren't friends with the president, how are his policies affecting your business and its growth positively?
It's what I was doing at My Pillow. What I do at My Pillow is I let everyone, if they have a better opportunity, they can go out there. They can do invent some or do some, or maybe a business, take a chance, and they get to come back right where they left off if it doesn't work out.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I was always doing that. But now what I see is not just with My Pillow. I see other businesses. Our unemployment's at I think an all-time low in Minnesota. The unemployment's like a 17-year low.
Right.
It's just amazing. But I see for my company. We've created careers there, but now it's like they're taking more chances where they're going, they'll go out and they'll try something, and it's just, I see other businesses doing that too now, where people are taking chances on, and if you're a businessman, or what I would say, good advice, what I do is I view every customer like it's my only customer, or every venue like it's my only venue, or every employee like it's my only employee, and and it's like a big family. And I think the optimism and that the president shows, and just the confidence. That's what's taking over. It doesn't, even if the needles aren't moving as fast. People say, well, wages haven't gone up as much. Well, whoop-de-doo, they're gonna go up. That's what's gonna happen. We can't find other people can't find employees right now. Or serious. So it's gonna organically, the wages are gonna rise, and they're gonna rise fast. You wait, what's coming.
Well, the funny thing is, you said like a little piece of semantics, and they're not rising as much. Right? Not that they're not rising.
Oh, they're
because
rising.
wages
They're
are
rising.
Household incomes right now are at an all-time high in history.
Right. But I'm just saying what the leftists said. They're not rising fast enough. Are you kidding me? They're rising probably unprecedented fast, but it's gonna explode. It's gonna be. I know that because I see My Pillow. We pay very good wages, and the people around us now are starting to pay that. Finally.
Right, because they're saying, well, damn, I gotta get these workers, and Mike's paying them too much.
Because your businesses and the businesses are expanding, and
tell Joe to come in.
Things.
He can come in now if he has time for us. We always have room. This is tape, so we edit, but we go on the fly.
Come on in, Joe.
Come on, Joey. Come on, Joey. Come on, Joey. Benefits.
Joe, come on down.
You want to sit? You want to sit in my seat? You want to sit in your seat right now?
Sitting in my seat.
Yeah.
Like you're a poor man, Joe.
Yes, I am poor.
Am I right or wrong? If it wasn't for like Lindell, we'd be off the air.
This is getting
My
good.
Pillow and the My Pillow mattress topper with the promo code AM970. Thank you very much.
I'm not gonna need to do much more now. We got basketball. Joe's taking over the show now.
Jeannie Zeno, Professor.
Whoa!
Everybody's on the basketball show.
Joe, how about why don't you sit here and I'll take a break right now?
I want to come in. I gotta go because they didn't pay for the hotel room.
This is a reboot.
So I gotta go. They think I'm
I wanted to come in. Is this Newsmax camera? Or do you got our cameras? They're using our cameras too. That's great, Frank. That's great. Do you need anything else? Do you want to just use my name? Mike, I got to tell you.
Free around here, Joe.
I wanted to come in. I want to wish you the very best, man, on everything. It's not the Newsmax show. Actually, is cool. That's cool. Newsmax is jumping. So I just want to wish you all the best. This man, and from listening to Piscopo in the morning, is one of the great humans on the planet. He's just got such a great life, and I so appreciate our friendship, Mike Lindell. So God bless you too. So I'm going to try to make lunch. Let me check out of the hotel.
Okay. All right.
And Jeannie, and while we're breaking news, this is breaking news. Nikki Haley steps away from the UN. Well, Jeannie's Nikki Haley resigned.
Wow.
I know I know it just happened, right, Frank?
Yeah, this morning.
It just happened, and Jeannie's she's a professor of political science at Iona College. What do you think? Well, give us your take. May I just hijack this interview for a second? What do you think? What do you think it could possibly be?
I'm not surprised that she stepped down, but I am very surprised by the timing. 4 weeks before the election, so it's.
I don't know. This is kind of floors me.
She's doing a good job.
She was
absolutely
doing a very good
amazing.
job.
Yeah, I watched her speak.
Me and Joe stole my mic. I'm gonna have to use this right now. I'm kidding. I think Nikki Haley wasn't really ideologically lined up with Trump the whole time. She wasn't like a Trumper. She's more of a Frankie. We were talking about this
I
before.
think she's a neocon. I mean, she, when it comes to Russia, she wants a more aggressive, a more hawkish approach instead of a more conciliatory approach as President Trump does. So there are going to be a lot of people that say that she's going to resign to run for president against him. I don't buy that, but I think I think maybe it's for the best if the president gets someone who's a little bit more aligned with him ideologically on foreign policy issues.
Yeah.
Who does he replace her with, Frankie Five Boroughs?
That's a
John
great
Bolton.
question.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he's happy with Bolton as national security
Yeah,
advisor.
yeah,
Bolton.
it is working good.
Mike, what do you give us the inside scoop there, Mike?
might be Mike.
I know nothing.
He's Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes.
I know nothing.
He knows
The
nothing.
president told him about this Nikki Haley thing weeks ago in Minnesota.
And Mike, did you see him feigning surprise? You're kidding.
Exactly.
What?
Did you say the president? Mr. President, I never liked her. No. So I tell you, hey Mike, I love you, man. Thanks.
Love you, Joe.
You think I'm kidding? I'm gonna help Jeannie Zeno find her car because we don't send cars at the station, so she had to drive herself. And you don't know where you're parked?
I do not know where I'm parked.
Okay, I'm gonna be a tour guide down on Wall Street.
Wow.
Right.
And we're going to go find. I'll see you at lunch, Mr. Lindell. Johnny, God bless on the Newsmax show. I wanted to come in and
Thank
give you a
you,
little
Joe.
blessing. Oh, it's good. Frankie, I love you too, man. And thanks so much. And we'll go find. Do you have any idea where it is?
gotta ask Al, because Al seemed to know a corner.
Well, John will raid Al because we're going to get everybody from the Piscopo show. Arthur Idala will show up shortly, as a matter of fact.
Joe Lundberg.
Joe Lundberg doing the weather. Love you guys. Thanks. Mike will see you in a little bit. Okay, thanks, guys.
And that's all for this week's episode of What's the Deal? I want to thank Joe Piscopo for being the guest host today. And I didn't have to do a damn thing. But thank you, Joe.
Forgot where I parked my car once.
Yeah.
It was a rent-a-car. I didn't even know the color, and I didn't have, and the clicker didn't work. I was in Omaha, three different parking ramps. I'd wait till 5 in the morning till everybody left. I'm going up to cars and trying the key and
What's that drink there you got, John?
It's called a Crazy Sexy. And that's how I'm feeling today for our second episode of a Crazy Sexy. Coming back from those great guest appearances, Joe Piscopo barges in, takes over the show. But you're watching What's the Deal, where we get to the bottom of the age-old question on many topics. What's the deal? And today we got the real deal with us. Joining us still, thank you for staying a little extra time, Mike. Absolutely. Mike Lindell, the inventor, founder, chairman, CEO, all everything. Now your son is running parts of the business.
Yeah, he's a manager over all the manufacturing, over 1,000 workers there in the manufacturing, 400,000 square feet, and come a long way from tearing different foam and fabric on a deck when he was 12.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, Mike, one of the things that we've covered here on What's the Deal is a lot of business people are discouraged, like, hey, don't take big political stances because you might piss off half your audience, right? And recently Nike came out and they made Colin Kaepernick the face of their 30-year anniversary campaign. This is a guy who wears pigs on his socks. Talk about cops. My dad was a proud NYPD officer for 20 years. Okay, so I'm sensitive to blue lives, and I'm sensitive to all lives. But this guy wore pigs on his socks. This guy started protesting by kneeling during the anthem, and then Nike and Phil Knight make a philosophical decision. Let's piss off everyone on the right and go with the guy who kneels for the anthem. Right. And a lot of people, I give him credit for taking a stance, fine. I think it was a bad business move.
Right.
But a lot of business guys shy away from that because you don't want to taint your audience, right? And you recently have not shied away from that.
Well, I went all in when I was never into politics. I didn't know anything about him, and Mr. Trump, our president, reached out to me in 2016, the summer of 2016, for a private meeting, and he wanted to talk to me about everything made here in America, my employees, how everything he was going to do as our president. And I walked out there and I said, I'm all in. I mean, I went all in, and I didn't look back. And I'll tell you, people ask me all the time, anybody out there, they say, what's your best day ever, Mike? Yesterday. Tomorrow will be today. And I mean, I don't, people can't take away that I met him. I know where his heart is.
The guy's the best.
And he's the best. And it's not, anybody that's in business out there that's afraid of that, don't be afraid. I mean, I get attacked all the time on by bots and trolls on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Usually if Sean Hannity or Laura, back then they'll say, oh, boycott him, and they'll put me. Now they put on Twitter, they go, don't boycott Mike Lindell, he'll just double his ads. Absolutely.
Exactly. Some famous person said, beware the man who buys his ink in barrels. Right? Beware the man who buys his ink in barrels in the old days when they were only writing with ink pens, right? Because this guy can send the biggest message.
Right, yeah.
And one of my mentors always says, beware the man who buys his bytes in megas.
Right.
You understand?
I get it.
And gigas.
Exactly.
But Mike, before you go, great bizman, amazing friend to the president. You support so many great causes, but something that affects my community where I live and is affecting the whole country right now, and really comes back to the more policies of the president, is this drug crisis. The young kids and this drug crisis. And you're one of those guys, you hire American, you're made in America, you're growing your business right here in Minnesota, USA, and you travel in the country. But you don't forget where you came from and when you hit the bottom of the barrel, and you are doing something amazing with your recovery network. Yeah. And we want to maybe even document that as you go around and do your rallies.
Absolutely.
Maybe we want to cover that on What's the Deal. I think we do.
I was an ex-crack cocaine addict, and I've set up it's the Lindell Recovery Network, where addicts are going to see stories of hope, just like them. You're going to put in your age and what you're addicted to, and all these stories, just like you, are going to come down.
Yeah.
The closer you get to a match, that gives you hope. And then I'm going to have all the vetted, faith-based treatment center, the best in the world, are your Teen Challenge, Union Gospel, Salvation Army. I've actually vetted thousands of them. And so they're going to have help right in their area. Then they get out, and I'm going to have paid mentors that are going to help them when they get out. We're going to follow them all the way through to an amazing place that I'm in now, where they can get freed of these addictions. And I know so much about it that you need to reach out. I'm going to be doing on my website. I'll be doing it's like a sales pitch to the addict.
Right.
Going, hey, here's your hope.
Who's
You guys
better than you
check
with
it
that?
out. Yeah, check it out. Here's your hope. And everybody knows people that have died in tragedies now, but they need to see stories of hope.
Hope. Based on my characterization, would you say that you're a purple person?
Absolutely. I am as purple as it gets. I back the president 100%, and that's common sense. I call it the common sense purple.
That's right.
That's
yes.
the common sense purple. That's our group, and that group is growing both ends outward. We're all together here, and we aren't leaving here, and we're just going out, and people are jumping on board. I said it before, I'll say it again. I said it the other day. Everybody loves our president. They just don't know it yet.
That's right. So you're watching What's the Deal? You just heard the deal. And we are on What's the Deal? We are committed to making television great again. We're going to make television so great that you're going to say, please stop making this show so great, John. It's too great. I need a break. I have to pause it. But Mike Lindell's joining us. Joe barged in. It was a great segment. I want to thank you for some time. And Mike, if I can start to build a little traction, can we possibly consider the purple pillow?
You got it.
Yeah.
I'm there. The purple
All right.
pill.
So
I'm in.
you better start watching this show and DVR it and tell everybody, because when I tell Mike how many viewers we have, I say, please make us a purple pillow.
It's just common sense. Let's make the purple pillow.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Maybe we'll give a whole hunk of the proceeds to some of the recovery networks
Absolutely. That'd be awesome,
do
yeah.
something great like that.
Yeah.
But Mike Lindell, I want to thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean, for having
from
me.
a fledgling entrepreneur and television show host. You gave my show a lot of credibility, and it's a pleasure to meet you. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor to be here. God bless you.
Thank you very much. You've been watching What's the Deal? You're going to watch that commercial quick, and you're going to come right back here and see more of What's the Deal. And Joe's going through. We got Mike Lindell, we got Mike Gallagher, we got Jeannie Zano, and he's saying a little bit about each of them, and he goes, and we got Johnny Tobacco. We have no idea what we're going to be talking about Johnny Tobacco, but he's always got some deal for us. Well, with Dr. Paul Johnson, adjunct professor at Fordham University, also adjunct at Columbia Business School. Paul, thanks for giving us a few minutes tonight.
Thank you.
You're watching What's the Deal on Newsmax TV. Professor, we strive on this show to answer one simple question. What's the deal? So I will ask you, Professor, can you give our audience the crypto for dummies? Because so many people are saying, what is this?
All right, first is, when we talk about this, we almost always put the technology and some of the products in one conversation. So it already gets confusing from the get-go.
Right.
So we'll talk about blockchain and Bitcoin in the same sentence. And we really have to think about blockchain as a new set of technologies. Bitcoin is a new product or service.
So we need to bifurcate those two
That's the
just to
first
have
thing-
a
first
base
thing to do.
understanding.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And
Bifurcation of blockchain and Bitcoin.
separate the two.
Number one.
That's the first thing to do. Now, if you talk about blockchain, you'll hear all kinds of stories. You'll hear about all the companies down here in this area investing enormous amounts of money. Some people think it's over $1 billion. That's probably overstated, but it's certainly hundreds of millions of dollars on blockchain that has nothing to do with Bitcoin. And they're investing in blockchain because it's a new technology that will allow us to do really exchanges differently than we've ever done it before. That's real, it's big, it's going to last 20 years.
So when I think about it, and you know, I'm an old school capital markets guy, and there's a lot of intersections in applying crypto and blockchain to capital markets, but I kind of say like, this is like 20 years ago when someone was starting to force me to use an email.
Yeah,
And I
precisely.
was like, why do I need an email for?
Right, and
It's
now you live
annoying.
on it. Right, and now
right?
you live on it.
I feel like this is like the email of new money.
I think so, but again, we've got to be careful. Keep the crypto out of the blockchain.
Got it.
So you're an old capital markets guy. I've been around the capital markets.
I
for
didn't say I was
30s.
old. I said I've been around.
All right, so you've been around. You've been around enough.
Yeah.
You've seen technology come in. When you first started in capital markets, they had a lot of paper, and we had runners, and we had pneumatic tubes, and we had all kinds of crazy stuff. And over time, that all went away and got electronic.
That's
It's
right.
just nothing more than that. Those technologies were almost all internally generated, whereas blockchain is the first technology that allows companies to share information
Got it.
in a secure way. So if you think of a payment system or a secured system, or almost everything is still T+3.
I hear people saying words like permanent, immutable. These are like SAT words. You know what I mean? But to me, when I try to break it down for dummies, I say this is a record of a transaction that's being created on the blockchain that no one can fuck with.
Exactly, and I think that's a good way to think about it, right? And once it's there, it's always there. We
That's
never
right.
remove them. We may add another transaction to the end, but the blockchain will have every transaction from the beginning till the end.
So, Doctor, when your students at Fordham and Columbia Business are looking at this now, do they see it as like, it's another college thing I have to, or is there an excitement around it where younger people are starting to think this is something that they can build on?
The classes are sold out. We can't offer enough of them.
Really?
Yeah, as far as they're concerned, this is their internet. And they're starting businesses, they want to go work for businesses. Some do trade the crypto on the side,
Right.
but they see this as a future industry they want to be in.
So this show is really, that's why we're here. We're in an underground bunker in one of the oldest vaults on Wall Street. And this is basically, these safe deposit boxes that are on the wall. This was the original custody.
Correct, precisely.
Proof of ownership went in a box in the wall,
And you had two
and you
keys.
had the key, and the bank had the key.
got it.
So we're kind of right now at the mecca of original proof of
It's
ownership.
a great example
Yeah.
where you
And-
have a key and other people have a key in this new world.
And that's it.
And that's
right?
it.
And another reason we're here is because Federal Hall's on the corner, and that was the foundation of American politics, and New York Stock Exchange across the street, and that's the foundation of American economy and really the global economy, right? So where does, in your view, when you see papers and studies and stuff, when will the politicians start to come in and feel like they have to really take control of this because they don't want the people controlling their money?
We're close. I think most people in the industry thought the SEC would have made some rules by now. Most people thought before the end of summer. They're late. They continue to give very mixed signals, so no one knows. But we thought the regulators would show up already.
One of my contentions has been that there's a lot of retail interest and people are speculating and diving in, but institutions, family offices, hedge funds, large mutual funds, they're not going to come in hard until there are four corners of the
I think
regulation
that's
out there.
very important observation.
And in my life, I'm against regulation. I'm a free market capitalist. You know what I mean? We want to make the deal, and we don't want any friction on it. But I think this is one instance where you actually want some more regulation so that it makes it more credible, and then you'll get institutional participation.
Yeah, I think
What do
that's
you
right.
think
I
about
think what
that?
you want to do is put it within the traditional financial framework regulation.
Right.
We've got 85 years of financial regulation. You've got to create the rules for this new set of technologies.
Got it.
Until you do, it's not going to take off. The institutions can't. They're going to have to sit on the sidelines and wait. The moment you do that, then I think you're going to get all kinds of innovation that's going to blow people away.
That's what I think. Dr. Paul Johnson, we can have you back as our predominant expert on this topic, and
I
appreciate
applaud you for doing the show.
appreciate you taking your time.
Thank you.
If you didn't understand one thing that you just heard, I can tell you this. He knows what's the deal. Watch it again, rewind it, DVR it, but cryptocurrency is here, and blockchain, the underlying technology, is here to stay. You're watching What's the Deal on Newsmax TV.
here with Dan Viola. Dan's actually the founder of Blockchain Shift here, and he's a partner in the law firm based in New York City of Sadis and Goldberg. So give us your sort of 30,000-foot observation of where things have gone to get us to this point.
Well, there's been a real drive for technology to improve businesses, and the blockchain offers businesses of all sorts that capability to run a more efficient operation, whether it's in Wall Street, whether it's in organic farming, banking, even in the legal field. So, I'm excited to kind of see all this happening. We've been partnering up with IBM, and IBM has a wonderful application and a business approach to blockchain. They agreed to sponsor the conference, and we're aligned with them here at Blockchain Shift.
Just give us a snapshot of who's here.
Sure. I mean, we have everybody from some crypto investors. We have family office investors who are interested in learning more about the technology to invest in the technology. We have service providers, everything from lawyers to accountants that are servicing groups, both operating companies into the blockchain and also funds that are investing into the blockchain. And we're fortunate to have IBM, as I said before, as a sponsor. They're here and they're developing a lot of interaction with individuals who are excited about learning about how blockchain can impact their lives.
And if you had a sort of a crystal ball, where do you see this? People compare this to the birth of the internet, and the players that were alive and well in the beginning are long gone, and now you have the Googles of the world and others. So you're going to have some players who are around now but gone 10 years, 20 years from now. If you had a crystal ball, where do you see things 10 years, 15 years from now, 20 years from now?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think that, I see the analogy of the internet in the 90s a lot to blockchain today. It's still in a very nascent form. And what I say, it's too big to ignore. It's too big to ignore because blockchain will revolutionize your industry if you're in one that is looking at this. And there are a lot of committees already in different banking institutions that are formed blockchain groups to really evaluate and test how to make their business more efficient. So if you hear about blockchain, it's worth your while to sort of really understand how it's going to apply to your specific business.
Well, that's what we're here to do today. We're really pleased that you put this event together. It's a big success. Congratulations. I'm sure many more.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to offer for the audience at home?
No, just to really thank everybody that's come here to support us. Our sponsors are wonderful, and thank you guys for being here and covering this. And we're just happy everybody's here and having a good time.
You got it, Dan. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing us together.
We have congressmen, we have lawyers, we have investors, we have entrepreneurs, we have coin men, we have token men, we have it all. But right now we have in the token tank Greg Magershak. And Greg, your company Intercoin is doing some really innovative things. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Intercoin and what you guys are doing for security tokens and communities?
Absolutely. So I got into the crypto space in order to help communities have their own currency. We started about a year ago. We're combining the best ideas from the last 4 years to make a scalable currency that will actually be used to power payments in the real world, because that's what Bitcoin was supposed to do. And we feel that it's not scalable enough. So we'd like to have something that is scalable, and each community can have its own currency.
If I'm hearing this right, I live in Staten Island, New York. And if I decide I want to go to some merchants in my community and say, hey, let's do a Staten Island coin, right? People can buy the coins, right? And we get merchants to participate, right?
That's right.
And then there's some incentive.
There's an incentive for each
You
party.
get some kind of discount or something
Exactly.
by spending those coins with your local merchants. Is that close?
That's very close. Actually, there are some cities in Britain, for example, the Bristol pound.
Okay.
The whole town of Bristol has their own pound. One of the advantages is that they can't run out of it because the Bristol pound is not usable anywhere else. So no one is going to take those pounds. Take an example of a casino, right? You go to a casino, you buy chips. That's an internal currency.
Right.
And no one's going to take that Vegas chip back to New York or to Staten Island.
I've done that before. I got so drunk I left with the coins.
But probably not $1 million.
No. I've never had $1 million.
My point is, maybe you'll take a few
My
trips.
divorce lawyer will kill me if I said I
We'll
had
keep
$1
it on the
million.
DL. So communities, right? Sometimes they want to elastically expand their supply of money, and sometimes they don't. The problem is you only have the federal money supply. In the 19th century, we had the free banking era, where each bank would have gold on reserve,
right,
and then it would issue its own bank notes. So each local community, and in Germany they had this during the Great Depression, and they actually were getting out of the Great Depression, but it was outlawed by the Weimar Republic then.
All right. I want to thank my friend here, Mr. Intercoin, Mr. Magashak. Thank you very much for patiently waiting.
you.
And thank you for educating our audience, which we're trying to do every day.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Hopefully I'll see you again at another conference, and we'll see you right after this. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. You're watching What's the Deal on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. We are at the Blockchain Shift Conference in Miami. We're in the Manna Wynwood Convention Center. And there's so many great things going on here today, but we're lucky enough to get a few minutes with Tony DiMatteo. Tony, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Tony's the CEO of Lottery.com. And Tony, we talked a little bit about it last night, that under Trump's new tax policies, next year a lot of people are not going to itemize their tax returns, and the incentive to give to charities is going to start to go away. And one of the things that blockchain and entrepreneurs are trying to figure out, like you, is how do we incentivize people to still give?
Yeah, that's right. No,
tell us a
you're
little more
completely
about
right.
Lottery.com.
No, I appreciate that. So, I think the gist of it is, because of the new tax reforms, starting next year, it's just not going to make sense for millions of Americans to itemize their taxes. They'll just take the standard deduction. And if you do that, you cannot, if you don't itemize, you cannot write off your charitable giving.
Right.
And so, the purpose why that incentive was created was to make people give. And so, starting next year, the behavior will start to change. And the Council on Foundations has estimated somewhere between $16 and $24 billion is gone now from charitable giving in the U.S. every single year going forward. And so all we seek to do is, if that carrot was the tax deduction, we just have to replace that with something to give people a reason to give. And so the way we do that is that if you make a donation, we want to give you a sweepstakes entry. And now that can be a large cash prize. It can be 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, whatever it is. Or it can be an experience.
Tony, how has the blockchain been helpful in making your entrepreneurial model work?
Sure. Well, I think in a couple ways. I think just if you think about the blockchain as a distributed public ledger, and bringing incredible transparency to what we're doing, where you don't have to trust a company, you can trust the blockchain, right? And that, on the gaming side of things, that's incredibly important. But even beyond that, I believe that a security token offering is the future of all fundraising going forward, and for a lot of reasons, right? And I say that because, as an entrepreneur, if lottery was gone tomorrow and I wanted to start a brand new company, I would not go through Sand Hill Road anymore, right? I would not go through that whole thing, which is like that whole system. Is now I have this unprecedented way to raise money. I can cast a very wide net. I can do general solicitation. It's a real security. It's still accredited investors, but we're unlocking capital all over the country that has never even seen deal flow before.
All right, go to sto.lottery.com and you can find out all you need to know about Lottery.com. Tony DiMatteo, thank you very much for a few minutes.
Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Neelam Brar for Newsmax TV. You're watching What's the Deal? And today we are at the Miami Blockchain Shift Conference, and I want to share with you some interesting women that are disrupting the space. Beside me today, I have Francesca Perrone, who is Head of Strategic Partnerships at Lottery.com. Francesca, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Lottery.com is certainly a catchy domain. What are you doing within the project?
So Lottery.com started 3.5 years ago, just enabling people to play the lottery from their phones. So we get explicit state permission. And we were lucky enough to actually get the domain of Lottery.com. But what we're doing, which is super exciting, is we're starting a global impact raffle and sweepstakes platform where any qualified NGO and charity can actually raise money through our platform.
So if I'm a qualified NGO and I need to raise $50 million for my next project to solve world hunger, for example, how does that work with you guys? I would then raise $50 million on your platform, and the people buying the ticket or the donation would get something in return. Is that right?
Yeah, so how it works, if it's a sweepstakes model, let's say you would purchase an item. So for example, we just ran a sweepstakes with Rihanna with Fenty Beauty, and her foundation, the Clara Lionel Foundation, was the benefactor. So with every purchase of this special edition highlighter, all of the proceeds went to support CLF. So you, as the consumer, who you either have an affinity for Rihanna, you have an affinity to buy the product, or you have an affinity to help, education in Barbados. So we're really just creating this platform to enable people to donate. So we're creating all of these really amazing experiences. So whether it's meet your favorite celebrity, whether it's a cash prize.
What's the deal?
We're not filming anything or anything.
You can have that football. That's okay, round one. I'm like, do I stop? Do I keep going? Do you want to take a seat? Have a football. He really wanted that football.
Joining me this week on What's the Deal, Morgan Peckma, political analyst for Pix 11 right here in New York, and the director of the film Get Me Roger Stone, which was fantastic, and I watched multiple times, and Dr. Melissa Jane Kronfeld, the founder of Passion for a Purpose and vice president of Charity, and a fantastic candidate for New York City Council. And of course, my erstwhile producer, friend, and confidant, Frank Morano, joins us again. Things are going so great in America, but yet America's biggest lottery jackpot is combined for nearly $1 billion. The Mega Millions jackpot is $654 million. Powerball's at $345, and the odds of any of us in this room winning both of them at the same time is 1 in 88 quadrillion.
Ooh.
Which just
I like those odds.
Coincidentally,
You got to be in it to win.
1 in 88 quadrillion is how much Native American was found in Elizabeth Warren's most recent DNA test. And either she hit both lotteries at the same time or she ain't Native American, but I guess that'll all come out. But what does it mean in the middle of supposed great economy? Everybody's buying lottery tickets. They got extra money or they need money?
I listen. My parents were religiously every single week they went and bought lotto tickets, and God bless my father, who passed away a few years ago. He certainly did not need to in any way, shape, or form win the lottery, but he went out and did it every single week. It's the fool's tax. I don't get it. I would never bought a lotto ticket in my life. I never would. Essentially, what you're doing is giving $5 to somebody else in Iowa, Wisconsin, Idaho, who you're never going to meet, who's probably going to lose it within 10 years. And if we believe what they say about lotto winners, that they wind up either spending all the money right away. They don't get good advice because they tend not to be in a situation to do so. So it makes no sense to me. Never has, never will.
Morgan, when lotteries were instituted here in New York, the big story was that all the money that the state makes from the lottery is going to go straight to the education fund.
Sure. When it actually goes to promoting the lottery.
Yeah.
That's the number one expense that the lotto has, is just perpetuating itself. Whether it's the fool's tax, I've always thought about the lottery as a tax on the poor. Whether it's reflective of larger problems with our economy, I'm not so sure. So, whether we can isolate larger trends, I do think that this great economy, as you put it, I don't know to what degree it's really trickled down to poor people to people struggling on the margins of our country. I haven't seen the empirical evidence of that. When you talk about fungible numbers, the economy is the easiest thing to funge numbers about. And you're talking about the success of something like the stock market that has virtually no effect on almost every American. Very few of us who are invested in the stock market.
Well, 55% of Americans have securities brokerage accounts. So, I mean, it's more than a majority.
The
has a
average American's retirement savings is about $12,000, right? So maybe you have a couple $1,000s in there, so you qualify for that statistic, but that's a pittance because you spend that in your first 3 months when you're on retirement.
Just to give you some empiricals to keep the dialogue fair, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, household incomes right now are the highest in history. So there is some trickle down
adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
Because if we adjusted for inflation, I don't think that's probably true.
Well, and these are the same statistics that Trump didn't believe under Obama, but he believes now that he's president. Just wanted to clarify.
I guess so.
She's the Republican.
I know. This is like an episode of Outnumbered.
But I think the broader point about, first of all, I can't believe I still haven't gotten a ticket yet. The $1 billion at stake, I'm going to run out and buy a ticket for both. But, before there were legal lotteries in all these states, that didn't mean that there wasn't legalized gambling. People were playing lottery. They were just run by gangsters, right? People were running numbers, right? So people have an appetite in this country, for better or worse, for gambling. So it may as well be legal. And if the government's going to make some money out of it, I'd rather them do it than gangsters do it. It is a tax on foolishness. It is a tax on poverty. But people are going to pay that tax regardless. Question is, do you pay it to the mob, or do you pay it to the government?
Well, all I could say is you got to be in it to win it. And based on my panel today, we have no shot of getting the New York Lottery to advertise on this show, nor will we be hiring Morgan to produce those promos for us. So that's out of the question. But, lottery is an interesting topic this day. I was down in Miami last week covering the Blockchain Shift Conference, and I sat down with the CEO of Lottery.com. And they're a very innovative blockchain company. They're using the blockchain technology and cryptocurrency to bring lotteries to philanthropy. And all your donations go into a lottery, right? So your donation gets to where it wants to go. But if we raised $50 million, 7% of that is going to be in the pot, and someone who made a donation will win $3.5 million. So it's a hybrid lottery fundraising, because if you're not going to get anything for your donations, you can't, if you're not going to write them off, but you still like the cause, by making your donation, you're in a lottery. You could win, you could donate the money back.
I don't think most Americans are even getting the benefit, or even under the old system, are getting the benefit of their write-offs for their money that they gave to charity, because you have to be in a different income level to benefit from that. So, I hope that Americans will keep giving because of the goodness of the hearts of Americans. But, that sounds like an interesting way to get people to be involved.
Lottery. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I got the chance to sit on a panel with Lottery.com at the UN, because I sit on the Blockchain for Impact. I'm the chairperson of the Working Group on Human Trafficking and Modern Slavery. So one of the things that I think is missing in this conversation, regardless of what they're doing, which is fantastic, 90% of the world's giving comes from Americans. And that's not just the epically wealthy. That is just regular people who give $1 to their church, $5 to the local diabetes organization, or $3 to the red nose thing at the Duane Reade that we have to deal with every single year. I don't think that Americans are going to stop giving regardless of this. And we may see a small dip. Maybe we'll go down to 85, 88. But we are the most generous people in the world. And we know that the people of lower incomes tend to give more percentage-wise of their income than the wealthy. And I don't think that's going to change, because Americans' hearts are not going to change because our tax code.
Today, we had an unbelievable episode, too. We had Mike Lindell, Joe Piscopo a little earlier in the show, Columbia professor, talking to us about the ins and outs of blockchain. Some great companies, some great guests. That's the end of the game, and we'll see you next week right here on What's the Deal on Newsmax TV.